Good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I'm not one to get excited, right? I usually try to keep it even keel, but I'm fired up, baby. We're back. We're busting uglies. Pads are clacking. We're fired up. Coach Billy spoke today. Miles spoke today. Boone spoke today. Slaughter spoke today. A lot of guys were being interviewed. We've got a couple clips from Billy's interview. He, in my opinion, had his best answer to date when asked about being on the hot seat. So we're going to play that clip. Thought he handled it perfectly. And then he kind of got a little spiciness with the answers about Mark Robinson leaving to Georgia. You guys can, be the judge of that. He talks about culture. We get some clips and some tweets talking about the adjustment from the strength and conditioning program. And just, again, these are things that I've been kind of hounding on this whole offseason, which I know some people are like, who cares about it? But even Tyler Miles said it today. Like, you can't win the season in the offseason, but you certainly can lose it. And that's something that I feel like we've been losing that battle for the last couple of years. And it finally feels like, hey, we're making some movement in the right direction. Some great questions we'll kind of go over that I liked that Billy spoke about is they made an adjustment. Typically, when these guys come for this camp, they stay in the hotel room. This year, they're staying in the dorms. And as he said this, I was like, this feels like a little Remember the Titans vibe. You know what I'm saying? Get these guys together, room up with different type of people, get them to know one another. He goes, look, it's like that old school vibe. Makes them appreciate it when they do go back to the hotel room and they do get to leave those dorms. So I like that kind of that grittiness of like, look, we're here to play football. He said we can control, the timeliness of guys getting back to camp, which was never really, usually not an issue, but all in all, just more control of the situation. And the players love it as well, too. So it's an all bought in mentality. Again, it's a small thing, but you just like hearing the kind of the nuances of how fall camp is being addressed. So I loved hearing that. They asked, hey, are you making adjustments to this camp compared to the previous years? He says, look, we've got a program that we run. The adjustments we have made are due to scientific data that we haven't had in the past. So there is a small change, but nothing too crazy. So I love that. Here's a big thing, and we're going to get a little bit of a rant here with the culture. And we've been hearing a lot about it, but we got some stories about it. And I think, I was thinking about it. I mean, we're really hounding on it. And some of the things you hear, it's like, well, shouldn't they be acting like this anyways? And yeah, I think as fans, we think like, look, these college kids, that's all you're there for. And you should just be eating, breathing, and sleeping football. And I think you have individuals, but to get an entire group, 70 to 100 guys, to act and function in that same way, must not be a norm, or it's not a norm for non-championship teams. Obviously, I think George and Bam and those guys, they function like that. I told you about a story with Julio Jones in one of our shows, how he came back and implemented the culture that was instilled with him, 10 years ago. But he talks about how the guys were working out. He said it during a media day. Again, they're there on a Saturday, 70-plus guys in the middle of January, February, working out by themselves. And, that's how you usually justify somebody. One of my bosses always says, like, look, how will the mice play when the cat is away? When the bosses aren't looking, that's when you really understand who your guys are, what your team is that you're working with is when everyone's away, how does your team function? And he goes, this team functions at a high level when nobody's watching, which speaks volumes to what we've been able to create, and it speaks volume to the leadership on the team and the accountability. So I love that. We're going to play a clip here, two clips. One where he kind of, again, talks a little bit more about that, and then a story of somebody coming up to him and talking to him about how this team just feels different. I'll play this clip, and then I'll kind of elaborate a little bit more of like how far we were away from where we should be.
I told the story at media day. It's Saturday. I don't know if it was January or February, but I bring the boys over here. We're over here. I'm trying to do some work. They're running around, and we got, I look around. I think there's 70 guys in the building. Recovery, skill development, some hypertrophy work. I mean, and ultimately time together. I think there's a brotherhood element to that, and that's the player going to his position group and his unit, his class, and saying, "Hey, let's get in here on Saturday. There's an opportunity to get better."
Now, look, when I hear this, you're like, "Well, why is this such a big deal?" Really, like, why? How is guys working out and fine tuning their craft on a random Saturday in the middle of February? Why is that such a phenom? Why is it such a big deal? It leads me to believe that we were so far away from that that we weren't even close to that. And again, we kind of talk about like Billy finally has his guys, no more Mullen guys. I think this is what it alludes to more than anything. Again, we kind of talk about being bought into not only Billy, but into the process. And this shows you that these guys are bought into the process. And this is why I get so excited and why I love Billy so much is we hear these great stories about this team buying in and wanting it more than anything. And I understand we want to win football games and all these things, and we need to see W's before we get anywhere. But this team continues, they taste something and they believe in something to want to show up on a Saturday in a February to get it done because they realize how close they are. That's like, look, if we put this extra type of energy in, we can get to that next level. And, you know, to hear the excitement of these guys wanting it so much, also why I love Billy. I think the guys that he brings in, the hunger, right, to have all of them. It just shows you, too, I think there's a lot of guys that left. I think Princely was part of that staff. We kind of heard a few people say, like, look, nobody really kind of cried when he left. I think super talented young man, great kid, had him on the show. But I think there was a lack of, or a lot of that old mentality, that old culture that was instilled in him of, like, I just kind of show up and do whatever. I'm a five-star guy. I don't need to come in on Saturday. And that carries. When you've got your leader that's doing that, that kind of travels throughout the entire staff. He also spoke to, again, we had a young phenom or just a youth movement last year with a lot of younger guys. And what's great about that is that, one, you've got a ton of experience coming into it that's, young to the program, but they're extremely hungry and motivated because they still feel like they have a lot of time left on their table, which obviously they do. Versus someone coming into their fifth year may feel like the clock's ticking a little bit, may not be as motivated or as hungry to go get it. So there's a nice combination of great experience of guys trying to make that last push on top of this youth movement that feels like I am him. I am a leader of this team and I can get it done. And that creates a recipe for success and some exciting things. So here's the story, the clip of someone walking up to Coach Billy and kind of telling him, like, look, I'm noticing that this is a different football team. And here's the thing. I know what people are going to say. I already hear it. I hear your guys' voices in the comments. I don't care about none of this. I want to make sure we win football games. So do I. I want to win football games too, but this is where we're at. We're in the middle of July, and these are the steps I need to get there. So don't click on the video and start yelling about winning football games. We ain't there yet. I want to win too. I know. I want to win. But these are the right steps moving forward, in my opinion. Sorry for yelling.
A guy walks up to me and says, hey, Coach, I don't know what's going on around here, but this group, I've never seen that locker room look like it looks right now, and I've never seen guys engage our staff, the food service staff. So it's healthy. Now it's time to go execute, right? We've got to get football specific. So I'm a firm believer that better people are better football players.
So, look, first of all, he even said, hey, we got to win football games. I'm aware of that. We got to go out there and do those things. But it's great to hear that what we're doing with this team, people who aren't even associated with the program are noticing. He even spoke in another clip where everybody's telling me, teachers, academics, Florida Victorious, like, this group's different. This team is just functioning at a different level. Now, again, will it translate to the football field? That is yet to be heard. That is yet to be seen. Like he just said, though, I believe great people make great football teams. And I look, all in all, I believe in the same thing. You got a group of guys that believe in each other, that are dialed in, that are bought in, are all big things. So another quick little note is the new special teams coordinator mentioned that there will be mats on the sideline. I know people are going to have their heyday with this, with circles on them, 11 circles, meaning that you line up on those circles, and so you can look over and say, is our mat full, right? And the people around you can go, is our mat full, before we run onto the football field, so we're not sending 10 or 15 guys out into the football field. Now, can we still send out 2 number 3s? That part, I don't know. I don't know if the mat tells us that, but it at least lets us know. And look, now some people are going to troll with this. This is a kind of a commonality versus a lot. This isn't like we're playing Twister on the sideline, all right? This is pretty normal. And again, it seems like, ask the question, well, why would we have done it last year? I don't have answers to a lot of these questions, guys. Quit asking me the tough ones. I don't know, all right? But at least the mat's there now. Hopefully it's one less thing we have to worry about moving forward. Now, wanted to bring this up because a lot of people, we've kind of alluded to a little bit, but haven't talked about it much, is helmet communication. You're able to tap into the quarterback's helmet now, be like, DJ, hey, you got a blitz come up the left side. Pay the hell attention. Roll out. Sling it to old Boardingham. 50 yard down the line, sideline. All right, bet. That is now part of the game. We haven't spoke about it much. They asked him about it, so we're going to play this clip, and then we'll go from there.
It's a big bit early in the off season, but we actually got the real gear just this week that we will wear with the coaches and the players. We've been simulating that prior, so we've got quite a bit of time in the bank here in terms of what we've been working on. But now we get to do it consistently, day in, day out. We'll try to recreate the game in a walkthrough setting and in a scrimmage setting, practice setting. But that's a part of this training camp for sure.
So I imagine we'll hear more about it during this training camp than we have, because it's not, like you said, they just got the equipment to really implement it and test it out and see how it's going to go. So I'm interested to see how it does play out. I'm interested to see them ask these players, especially Graham Mertz, of like, hey, has it improved the game? Do you feel like it's going to help you some more? I think it's going to be extremely beneficial when DJ, because I expect him to get some snaps in. I mean, he's got to. That's going to be a big topic of conversation this offseason. I'm telling you. I mean, he is going to get pounded with those questions, as he should have. Like, how are you going to implement DJ Lagway? How many times are we going to see him on the football field? And he's going to dodge it and maneuver through that like a true wizard. But again, a lot of people are asking about it. It's still not, I think, the exact answer that we wanted. But I think it is exciting to know, okay, hey, at least we know where we're at in the timeline of this helmet communication. Just got it. Been trying to simulate how it would be like, but now we'll really get to rock and roll for the next 4 weeks of how we plan to implement it and utilize it. So these will be questions I'd imagine them roll out for the next 4 weeks. And then I think it'll probably die down because it'll just become part of the, an everyday thing. Or maybe these guys, Mark Long and these guys, ask them some juicy questions of like, hey, why didn't you pop in there? I don't know. I don't know how they're going to rock and roll with it, but at least give you guys some input on that. Now, let's talk about the hot seat. Everyone knows that it's been a topic of conversation this entire offseason. Billy kind of, I guess, got asked a little bit about it on media day. Those guys kind of respect the boundaries a little bit more in that setting. When you throw them into the presser at Florida, you got the guys like Mark Long and I can't think of the other guy's name who do not care about those lines. And look, we kind of roast them a little bit, but I always don't mind a tough question. So they asked him about it. How are you handling the noise? And here's what he had to say. And I got to tell you, I think it was probably his best response in a long time. He finally gave us an answer. Didn't give us some bullshit answer. Some of you may think he did, but I don't think he did. Take a listen.
I mean, I think every year you got a set of problems, whether you lack momentum or you have momentum, whether you've had a great offseason and you've coming off of a fantastic year, or maybe you struggled and didn't quite perform the way you'd like. You got to view each team as its own entity and kind of try to be objective about how you make decisions. Look, with leadership comes tough decisions, right? And I think every good movie, every good story, has challenges, right? So we're right in the middle of this one. And I'm hopeful that the things we've done to make change will help us perform better. But I'm going to tell you, I'm a firm believer that sometimes you need to go through struggle, and we've done that, and I'm hopeful that it will be rewarding when we do accomplish some things of significance. So, one thing about this game, I'll tell you, just big picture here from a perspective standpoint, this game, like most careers, are conditional, and I'm a person of faith, and there's an unconditional element out there to life too. So I think it gives you some perspective at the same time.
Billy fired me up here, boys. Got to be honest. I love his analogy of the movie, right? Like, hey, we're in the middle of a good movie. Just like any good movie, you got ups and downs, and we're right in the middle of it, alluding that this is going to be a banger. We're going to, hey, stay to the end. It's going to be juicy, I promise you that. He also, again, speaks to just how each season is its own entity, how it's its own battle. And I think he kind of nailed it on the head of like, look, if we would have came off a winning season, you guys be pounding me of how do I repeat success? Every season I come into, there's going to be a challenge that I'm going to have to address. Both could end up in me losing my job if not met, right? And I think that's what he's saying there is that like this my hot seat's always hot, especially at the University of Florida. You guys want to, spice it up and sell it up and write whatever articles and titles that you want to make it seem as spicy. But every time I walk in here, it's a new team, it's a new set of problems, a new set of challenges. It makes no difference to me how you guys want to view this. And I love that. That's exactly how I took it. Look, when you think about it, that's it. Kirby, is Kirby on the hot seat? No. But he's headed into the season of like, hey, look, you kind of choked against Bama last year. How are you going to handle it? Ryan Day is somebody I talk about who's on somewhat of a hot seat for Ohio State because they haven't had the success that Ohio State should be having. So you're 100% right. Every team and coach has its set of challenges and problems that they're going into. And we as the media try to rank it and put it as a list and who's on the hottest, who has the highest odds of being fired and whatnot. But to be in this role, to be in that leadership role as a head coach, you sign up for that. You know that, hey, this is what it is. And again, you guys can't handle it. You guys may not have the guts or the glory to handle what's going on, but I signed up for this shit. It don't make no damn difference to me. Okay? And look, I love it. Kind of brought in his faith and look, kind of sticking to the plan and understanding like we got to go through adversity sometimes to get to where we want to be. And that's what hopefully we've already gone through enough of it. And this will be the end of it. And again, some people might not like the fact that he says hopefully, or that it doesn't sound as confident. To me, that is his belief in God of like, look, this is my hope, that this is the plan that God's got written out for me, but it may not be it either. And I think that's where people kind of allude like, oh, he's not hungry, he's not confident. No, that's him just being extremely humble of the situation and not cocky of like, yeah, we're going to get it done, baby. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, he has this trust in God and believe, hey, that's what's going to happen. Some of you might not like that answer, but that's a matter of fact for him. Now, I don't know if Billy just kind of got tired or this felt spicy to me. He was asked about Mark Robinson, the guy that was running the NIL front office staff. We heard about it. Seemed like it was a done deal. Interview with Georgia. Ends up going to Georgia. Just happened. And they asked, like, hey, is it a big deal? No big deal? What's going on with that? And here's a Billy game swinging out that baby.
Yeah. Look, Mark did a good job for us. He's a good person. It's an opportunity, a promotion in his field, more responsibility. And look, I've got a lot of respect for Mark. We've known each other for a long time, but he's closer to family, is what it is. We've had no issue attracting quality people here. We'll go find someone to do his job here.
Billy, it is what it is. We'll find someone else to go do his job. Hey. Look, that's mentality you got to have, but that was... I loved it. A little bit of spice. Nothing too crazy. Nothing. Not headliners by any means, but it was a good one. We got some tweets here from the other interviews from my man Nick Marcinko. Follow this guy. He does a lot of great work. He's constantly kind of pumping stuff out. So if you guys want to give him a follow, please do. He was sending out tweets for the other interviews. The other interviews weren't recorded. I imagine they'll be up later on. Why Florida doesn't do it live? I know why they don't do it live. They don't do it live because that one time where Mark Long basically said, I'll be F Billy Napier. So thank you, Mark Long. Why they don't do them live anymore. So I forgot. That's why they don't do them live. Justice Boone spoke highly of Florida's new strength and conditioning program, says the work has increased and you can see the results. I take this shirt off, I'm ripped. I love it. And again, this is where we're at in the cycle, right? Tyler Miles, obviously head of strength and conditioning, says they put on 600 pounds of muscle and lost 475 pounds of fat. That is insanity. Since December, I believe these numbers. So this is after the season, right? So these numbers are probably taken, I would say, early January. So think about it like after they've been going all season. Like these guys didn't put on a shit ton of fat for a month and they come in just super overweight, right? No. Probably a little bit, but that just tells you how far out of shape they were at the end of the year last year. At the end of a grueling season, just nothing. Crazy. Miles says Desmond Watson, we're always talking about Big Des, how his weight gain and weight loss and all those things are a problem, has made strides in every aspect this offseason. He's still got to keep working. Love that. We'll see some numbers, obviously, I'd imagine soon those things will come spoiling out here in the next couple of weeks. Miles says they went from 15 guys cleaning 300 pounds to 45 guys. Average squat is up 60 pounds since December. That's where I'm getting that number of December from because obviously they probably did like a little test at the end of the year. We know of the transition from the strength and conditioning, but I think there's probably early talks about it earlier than when it was reported. So I imagine these guys were starting to get their fingers and claws into it before the news of Mark Hockey taking a step away to these guys. So look, this is my thing. At the end of the year, these guys were, abysmal. Now, long season, you expect a little bit of downfall, but by golly, that's a big one. He also says you can't win the offseason, but you can certainly lose it. I couldn't agree more. Miles on Aaron Childs. I retweeted this as Aaron Childs is an alien. I don't think you need anything else. I think that describes perfectly what we're headed into this offseason. That is a grown man, boys. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Been pretty hyped about Aaron Childs. He's an absolute beast physically. It's going to be fun. Russ Callaway says a different team on offense. He worked with Coach Napier and Coach Sale in the past. It's a team effort starting with Coach Napier. He also had some great things to say about all offensive line. He says they've done a really good job recruiting and developing the offensive line. They've done a tremendous job so far. Hayden Hansen and Boardingham have also taken a step forward in leadership role, all from Nick Marcinko, quoting those guys' tweets for us, or kind of posting things out there. Co-defensive coordinator Rob Robertson also said Aaron Childs is a tremendous athlete. He's physically ready to do anything you ask him to do as a freshman. He's an elite player. Unreal, baby. Unreal. Florida News DC also says tackling wasn't done at a high level last season. I mean, here's what I love, right? I love that the staff is shitting on not the previous staff, but shitting on previous production. And look, some of them weren't here, some of them were, but not afraid to go, yeah, it sucked. It was bad. Sometimes it's like, yeah, we can make, no, it was atrocious. We had a long way to go. And I think that's them trying to say, like, we've made adjustments. Ron Roberts is a tight race at linebacker. Starts with Shamar James. We got Pup Howard, we got Miles Graham, we got Aaron Todd. That room looking thick, boy. I'm telling you that room's looking extra juicy. Look, I usually try not to tell any lies. I try to keep it truthful 100%, but by God, I swear to goodness, sweet baby Jesus, we're going 12-0. I can't keep it a day. I can't keep it anymore. I can't hold my tongue. We're gonna whoop some booty this year. I got a good feeling we're gonna roll up in there. Look, it's Lions season. The Beat Miami shirts are flowing, selling like hotcakes. Go get them now. They're about a week out delivery. Hightopsport.com. You don't want to miss it. Smash the like button, boys and girls. Subscribe. It feels good. First presser's back, baby. Woo! Look at two cops and Ric Flair. Ow! I'll see you boys in the next one. Peace and love, baby.